Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. Here in this satsanga, we are studying Bhagavad Gita, and as a part of it, now we are going through the Gita Dhyana. Last time, we have seen the fifth shloka. That is Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardana Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat. So, in this Gita Dhyana, the first shloka we looked into what Gita is and how it was presented in the Mahabharata. And after seeing all these things, we took an oath to follow Bhagavad Gita in our life. And the second shloka was a salutation to Bhagavan Vedavyasa, who gave this piece of teaching as a part of Mahabharata. Then the third shloka, we prostrated before Bhagavan Krishna, who milked Gita for us. And there came a doubt from where he extracted this Bhagavad Gita. Then in the fourth shloka, we saw all the Upanishads. And Bhagavan, out of compassion, extracting the milk from all the Upanishad cows. And that is Bhagavad Gita. And the last shloka we have discussed how or for what Bhagavan took the form of Sri Krishna. That is why and how incarnations happens. That is explained in the fifth shloka. That is Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. So now we are going to the 6th shloka. It is bhīṣmadrōṇataṭā jayadrathajalā gāndhāranīlōtpalā śalyagrāhavatī krūpēṇa vahanī karṇēna vēlākulā aśvatthāmavikarṇaghōramakarā duryōdhanāvartinī sōttīrṇā khalu pāṇḍavaiḥ raṇanadī kaivartakaḥ kēśavaḥ. Let us see the shloka once more. bhīṣmadrōṇataṭā jayadrathajalā gāndhāranīlōtpalā śalyagrāhavatī krūpēṇa vahanī karṇēna vēlākulā aśvatthāmavikarṇaghōramakarā duryōdhanāvartinī sōttīrṇā khalu pāṇḍavaiḥ raṇanadī kaivartakaḥ kēśavaḥ. Here in this shloka, we are praising Shri Krishna again. But this is not a direct praising like the other shlokas, like the 3rd shloka or the 5th shloka. Here, the battle of Mahabharata is compared to a river. The battle of Mahabharata is a river. Imagine. And it was such a river that it was very, very difficult to cross that. It was not easy to cross that river. But somehow Pandavas crossed that. They crossed that. How? Only because Shri Krishna was their helmsman. It was the only reason. So through this, the greatness of Shri Krishna, as well as that of Pandavas, is shown here. Let us take this shloka. It is said, bhīṣmadrōṇataṭā jayadrathajalā gāndhāranīlōtpalā śalyagrāhavatī krūpēṇa vahanī karṇēna vēlākulā aśvatthāmavikarṇaghōramakarā duryōdhanāvartinī sā uttīrṇā khalu pāṇḍavaiḥ raṇanadī kaivartakaḥ kēśavaḥ. This is the shloka. Sa raṇanadī, sa means that. As it is feminine, the actual meaning is she. The meaning of Sa is she. But here we can take that raṇanadī. Nadi is river. Ranam is battle. So raṇanadī is battle river. So that river, which is that river? It is the battle. Which battle? Mahabharata battle. Sa uttīrṇā was crossed. Uttīrṇā means was crossed. This river, which is Mahabharata, was crossed by pāṇḍavaiḥ, by Pandavas. By Pandavas, the sons of Pandu. When it is said Pandavaiḥ uttīrṇā, it was crossed by Pandavas. The passive language, the passive voice, it shows the greatness behind that. The greatness of crossing that river, it goes to someone else. Because they were made to cross. So the greatness of crossing that river, it lies with someone else. We can see with whom that greatness lies. But it is very difficult to cross that river. Not easy. It is said, bhīṣmadrōṇataṭā. That river is bhīṣmadrōṇataṭā nadī. That river is bhīṣmadrōṇataṭā river. Tatam is the bank of the river. So this river is bhīṣmadrōṇataṭā, means having Bhishma as one bank and Drona as the other. So while crossing a river, what is the first and last parts? First part is we have to enter into a boat from one bank. That is the first. That is the first work. That is the first thing we have to do. Then, what is the last thing we have to do? It is after reaching the other shore, we have to climb to the other bank. These are the first and last work we have to do. First is entering into the boat, and last is climbing to the next shore. So here it is said two banks of this river are Bhishma and Drona. Great warriors. One is the greatest warrior, Bhishma. He is a Swachanda Mrityu, who can accept death by his own will. And he was such a great warrior who was instructed by Parashurama himself. And later, he fought with Parashurama. They fought for days and days. He was a knower of all the Dhanurveda Shastra. Whatever techniques are there in the Dhanurveda, Bhishma knew them all. So he was one shot, one bang. And the other, Drona, the Acharya. It was Drona who taught all the secrets of Dhanurveda to all the Kauravas. That is both Dhartarashtras and Pandavas. Drona was the teacher. He was such a great warrior. So these great warriors and elders, most respectable persons, and knowers of all secrets of Dhanurveda, they are the two banks. So crossing that is unimaginable. It's unimaginable. But Pandavas did that. They crossed the river. How it happened? Think. Then, after entering into the boat, we had to cross. And the river is full of water. And waves are there. And undercurrents are there. Many, many whirlpools are there. And what is the water? The water in this river is Jayadratha. If Bhishma and Drona are protecting this river, nobody can imagine winning them. Such great warriors they were. But somehow you crossed. But then there is the water. That is jayadrathajalā. Jayadratha was an Atiratha. Atiratha means one who can fight alone with 10,000 Maharathas is called an Atiratha. And who is a Maharatha? One who can fight with well-equipped warriors, 10,000 warriors. One who can fight with 10,000 warriors alone. Single-handed. He is called a Maharatha. And such 10,000 Maharathas, if one person can fight, he is called an Atiratha. So Jayadratha was an Atiratha. So he is, it is said he is the water in this river. So it is very difficult to defeat him. It is not easy, not at all easy. Then jayadrathajalā, gāndhāranīlōtpalā, gāndhāranīlōtpalā. Upala is rock. Nilopala is black rock or dark rock, not white. When we are crossing the river by a boat, it is very dangerous to hit on a black rock, because the helmsman will not see that normally. And if the boat hit on the rock, it will be crushed to pieces. So here in this river there is a black or dark rock, which is that Gandhara. Gandhara, the king of Gandhara. Bharata. And the knower of all the secrets of Dhanurveda. So how Pandavas will cross this river? Very difficult one. Somehow they crossed. Somehow they succeeded. Then it is said, śalyagrāhavatī. There is a graha. Graha means, graha can either be a crocodile or an alligator. Both are grahas. So Shalya is a crocodile. So this river is one with a crocodile, which is Shalya. The king of Madra, he was an expert in Kuta Yuddha. Kuta Yuddha is not a straightforward battle. Tricky battle. He was an expert in it. And so he is compared to a crocodile, which will attack you with all body parts. It can hit with its tail. It can swallow you, crush you to pieces. But somehow, Pandavas managed to win him also. Then again it is said, pēṇa vahanī. If Jayadratha is the water, Kripa is giving the flow, that push, that power, the fast flowing river. And Kripa, greatest warrior, he was the Acharya of Kauravas before Drona was appointed as the teacher. So basically, he taught Dhanurveda to both Dhartarashtra's and Pandavas. Later, Drona was appointed as the teacher. So he was the first teacher who initiated them into the study of warfare. Actually, in the case of Pandavas, it is not true. Because even from the forest, that is even before coming to the hands of Bhishma, the rishis of the forest, they taught some basic lessons to Pandavas. After teaching some basic lessons, they brought Pandavas to their kingdom and handed over them to Bhishma. Of course, after the death of Pandu. So, but formally he was the first teacher, Kripa. So he is giving the flow, he is giving the current to the river. So it is very difficult to defeat him. It is not at all easy affair to defeat. But somehow Pandavas defeated him also. Then it is said, karṇēna vēlākulā. Karṇēna vēlākulā. Vēlākulā means this river is with disturbed waves. Velas are waves. And akula is the verbal meaning is akula, disturbed. So high tides are there. And who is making that? Karṇa, the greatest warrior. Greatest warrior. So Jayadratha is the water. Kripa gave the current flow. But Karna was making it that much difficult to cross. So it was not at all imaginable to defeat Karna. But somehow it also happened. Then it is said, aśvatthāmavikarṇaghōramakarā. There are two more makaras, two more alligators. And they are Aśvatthāma and Vikarna. Great warriors. Atirathas. The son of Drona and one among Dhartarashtras. That is the brother of Duryōdhana. Aśvatthāma and Vikarna. They are compared to alligators or crocodiles. Very dangerous. But it is said Pandavas defeated them also. Then there is the greatest hurdle. Duryōdhanāvartinī. There was a whirlpool. If your boat enters that whirlpool, finished. Nothing will remain. And who was making that whirlpool? That is Duryodhana. Duryodhana is a whirlpool in that river. It is not at all easy to cross that. But somehow, after facing all these hurdles, Pandavas did cross that river and they reached the other shore. What is the other shore? Other shore is success, winning the battle. They won the battle. So it's a wonder. It is that much difficult to cross this. And even after all such difficulties and hurdles, Pandavas did cross that. It is a wonder. How? How they did that? How they could win? There is only one answer. That is the greatness of Sri Krishna. So it is said, kaivartakaḥ kēśavaḥ. Kaivartakaḥ is the helmsman. So the helmsman was Sri Krishna. Kēśavaḥ, not Sri Krishna. Of course it was Sri Krishna, but here it is said kēśavaḥ. Kēśavaḥ was the helmsman. And it was his greatness. It was his victory that Pandavas won the battle. So what is the greatness with the Pandavas? Their greatness is they had full faith in Kēśavaḥ. When unimaginable difficulties faced, unwavering faith they had in Krishna. That is their greatness. And with that faith, they won the battle. So kaivartakaḥ kēśavaḥ. Who is Kēśavaḥ? Kēśavaḥ is the name of Sri Krishna. There are many meanings. The first is one who killed Keshi is Kēśavaḥ. One who killed Keshi. So Keshi was of demonic character and taking the form of a horse. That man came to kill Sri Krishna. But Sri Krishna, a small kid, he killed Keshi. And therefore Krishna was called Kēśavaḥ. There is another meaning, that is one who is having a beautiful hair, very beautiful hair, is Kēśavaḥ. Adorable, admirable hairstyle. He is Kēśavaḥ. If you are drawing a picture of Krishna and all other parts are perfectly shown, and if you are drawing a bald-headed man, nobody will accept it. It is not Krishna. So one who is with a beautiful hairstyle is Kēśavaḥ. Then there is another meaning. Ka means Brahma and Isha means Shiva. Ka plus Isha means Kesha. So, whom this Kesha are worshipping? Or both Brahma and Shiva are just parts of Ishvara, and that Ishvara is Keshava. Vaha means yours. So they are yours. Brahma and Shiva are two manifestations of yourself. So you are called Keshava. But this is an interpretation which will suit Vaishnavas well. Shaiva cannot accept that definition. Then who is Keshava? What is the meaning acceptable to all, irrespective of whether you are a Vaishnava or a Shaiva or Shakti? Then Ka is Brahma, A is Vishnu, and Isha is Shiva. Ka plus A is Ka. Ka means Brahma plus Vishnu. See, daily a poor bird will come near our house and chant this name of Brahma, Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu. Instead of respecting that crow, we will take a stone and will try to make it away. Why? So on hearing the voice of crow, we can take it as doing the chanting, Brahma, Vishnu, because Ka, 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 Brahma, Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu. The sounds of mosquito, we can hear the voice of Omkara, Pranava, 1,000,000 times together. Then we will love that. All the voices, all the voices we are hearing get the name of Ishvara, who is nameless. Then we will understand the whole manifestation of Ishvara. Let us come back to the topic. So Ka, Brahma plus Vishnu, then Ka plus Isha is Shiva. So Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva are three manifestations or three forms of one absolute entity or absolute reality, that is Paramatma. So that Paramatma is called Keshava. These three divine manifestations are really yours, Keshava. So Keshava was the huntsman. That's why Pandavas could defeat all the warriors. So that is how they crossed the river. See? So greatness goes to Sri Krishna. So in this way, Sri Krishna is praised in this shloka. How? bhīṣmadrōṇataṭā jayadrathajalā gāndhāranīlōtpalā śalyagrāhavatī pēṇa vahanī karṇēna vēlākulā aśvatthāmavikarṇaghōramakarā duryōdhanāvartinī sōttīrṇā khalu pāṇḍavaiḥ raṇanadī kaivartakaḥ kēśavaḥ. So this is the 6th shloka, and there are 3 more shlokas. The 7th we can take in our next. If you want to ask something, you can ask.
Swamiji, Namaste Swamiji. The first question is from Kamalaji.
Namaste, namaste.
For the Pandavas to cross this river, what is the boat? Can we take it as their faith or Krishna's greatness or something else? As the boat, we need a boat.
So it is not mentioned there. Even though Hemsman is clearly specified, what is that boat? That's a question. So to cross the ocean of samsara, the boat is Ishvara himself, or the name of Ishvara, or the faith in Ishvara. So we can take that. Avivantoni ninpadam. In the Dhyana, which is written in Malayalam by Sri Narayana Guru, Nilpadam, your name or your feet, it is the ship which will take us to the other shore of this ocean. But here it is not mentioned, which is the boat. So it can be faith, it can be Lord himself, or it can be Dhanurveda. But however, their firm faith in Sri Krishna, whatever hurdles came, whatever difficulties they faced, with unwavering faith, they sat on that boat. That is shown here. So we can take it as the faith or the Dhanurveda itself. Namaste.
Namaste Swamiji. We have another question from Arun Babuji. So Arun Babuji, you can unmute yourself.
Namaste Swamiji.
Namaste.
Again, the question is from this sloka itself. So in the last word, we mentioned about the Kēśavaḥ, who is represented as the complete Ishvara or that absolute reality. At the same time, we also mentioned as Sri Krishna. So when we are talking about Sri Krishna, is it a avatar Purusha or that absolute reality? So how the Kēśavaḥ and Sri Krishna is connected?
See, in the Mahabharata, mainly Krishna is depicted as a a great king, great scholar, great warrior, and one having all the siddhis with him. Mainly that is the picture of Sri Krishna in the Mahabharata. But when we come to Puranas, he is the Ishvara. That Ishvara aspect is narrated more. Not that in the Mahabharata that aspect is not there. Of course, it is there. In many, many places. Many places. It is said that Sri Krishna is Ishvara himself. The very manifestation of Ishvara. The incarnation of Ishvara. So many aspects are. In the Bhagavad Gita, at some places, Krishna is just the driver of Arjuna. Some other places, he is the companion of Arjuna. In some places, he is Ishvara. And some other places, he is the Paramatma. So in all these aspects, we can take Sri Krishna. There is no contradiction at all. Because this aspect we have seen in the explanation of the shloka, Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsacha Anuramata. Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Madhya Jagat. Because even when he is considered as an avatara, he is Ishvara himself. Ishvara is taking the form of avatar. So even when he is physically appeared as a man, he is Ishvara. Bhagavan himself declares this in the Bhagavad Gita itself. O Partha, you had passed through many births, and me too. You do not know those, but I am knowing all. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha. All the past and the present and the future, I am knowing. Bhuvime vyatitani janmani tava charjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vedha param. So that means even when he is acting as an ordinary man in this world, as an avatara Purusha, he was having that perfect knowledge. He was established in that knowledge, absolute. So he was Ishvara. And who is Ishvara? Ishvara is the Paramatma with Maya manifested, who took the adjunct Maya, and manifested with that. Then Paramatma is Ishvara. So all these are one and the same. So there is no contradiction at all. So when we say Kēśavaḥ, we can take it in all these senses. Because for those who are in the battlefield, Krishna was just a man with beautiful hairstyle. Very few, like Vedavyasa, knew that it was he who killed Kēśavaḥ. Let me repeat once more. For all the warriors assembled in the battlefield, he was Kēśavaḥ. Why? He was one with beautiful hairstyle. Only a few knew that he killed Kēśavaḥ. Still lesser knew that Sri Krishna is an incarnation of Bhagavan. And only sages like Vyasa, they had that knowledge with it. He is Paramatma himself. So Krishna was all. Kēśavaḥ was all. So there is no contradiction at all. That is the answer. Namaste.
Namaste, Swamiji. The next question is from Sumanaji. Sumanaji, you can unmute yourself. And
Namaste, Swamiji. Actually,
Namaste.
I have a question about vasana and the causal body. So is vasana same as, desire which leads to, can we equate vasana to desire and or the thoughts of becoming something or wanting something which leads to the causal body, and that makes a human sort of be reborn?
I understood. See, vasanas, we can roughly translate as the tendencies with us. It is not a correct translation, but for want of an apt translation, we have to use that. Or otherwise, we must use vasana as vasana itself. So from where vasana comes? See, whenever we are doing some work, we are thinking, we are talking. Then itself, some sort of samskaras will be formed in the chitta of our subtle body. It is like some inscriptions. See, when we are walking from one place to another, even if it is within our room, inside the room, why we are walking to reach somewhere? But then and then itself, our footsteps will be imprinted. We may not be seeing that, but it is there. Some trained dogs, they can recognize, or they will recognize. So just like that, for each and every action, there will be some samskaras, inscriptions, and these samskara in turn will become vasanas. So where these vasanas are stored? Not in the causal body. It is in the subtle body. It is in the subtle body. It is in the chitta. It is in the chitta. And see, when our mind and intellect, that is manas and buddhi, are not functioning, even then this vasana is there with it. And from vasana, all our activities, all our affinities in the waking state, and of course in the dream state, from vasana they are coming. So it is the cause, or it is the root of all our activities in the waking and dream state. But even then, it is not in the causal body. There is no vasana in the causal body. Vasanas are in the subtle body itself, but in the chitta. In the chitta. From chitta, vasana will come up. And it will make some vibrations or some waves in the mind. And immediately intellect will decide and action will ensue. So these vasanas are in the subtle body, not in the causal. And see, there is one very subtle subject. When all the activities of our gross body and our subtle body ends, and we are above the dualities of the world, we are residing in ourselves, say in the samadhi state. It is not the highest non-dual state, but it is the deep nididhyasa state. I don't know the English word for nididhyasa. Many people translate it as meditation, deep meditation, but I cannot. Nididhyasa is nididhyasa. So there is no world, there is no relations, there is no friend, there is no phone, nobody. No world. There is no body consciousness. But even then, some minutest vasanas are remaining in the chitta. Vasanas of what? Vasanas of sadhana, which we had performed or done in our life. And from that, some subtle vrittis are lingering within. And it is because of these vrittis that memory comes in our life in the waking state. That experience of bliss, memory of that experience of bliss. From where that comes? Just think that. Then we will understand there, even then, even in that stage, there was some sort of, not subtle, subtler than the subtlest, sadhana samskara was there with it. It is not the chitta in the gross sense or in the subtle sense. It's even subtler than that. But in the causal body, it is not there. It's a very subtle subject. Namaste. I think now we can conclude and continue in our next satsang. Om Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.